Hi, this is Jaya. In this video, we shall see the summer of The Raven, a poem by Edgar Allan Poe. Here we find an unnamed narrator. He is alone in his house and it is December cold evening and he is trying to read. When he is about to fall asleep, he hears a quiet knock on his door, but he decides to ignore it because he is trying to read in order to relieve his sorrow over the loss of his beloved Lenore, who has passed away. But though he tries to convince himself that nothing is there outside, his curiosity and fear overwhelm him. Slowly, eventually, he opens the door and he says Lenore into the darkness. But now he hears a tapping at his window. So he opens that too. And when he opens, a raven flies inside his room, landing on a bust of Pallas. The narrator jokingly asks the raven's name, and he is actually surprised when the raven responds by answering nevermore. He mutters to himself that raven will probably leave him just as his friends and loved ones did, to which the raven again responds saying nevermore. The narrator then seats himself directly in front of the bird, trying to understand what it means by nevermore. Suddenly, the narrator perceives the angels sent by God have caused the air to become dense and perfumed. Anxious, he asks the raven if the angels are a sign that heaven will relieve him of his sorrows, to which the bird says again, nevermore. With the same response, the bird rejects his hope that he might see Lenore again in heaven, as well as his impassioned request for the bird to leave him alone. Finally, the narrator tells us that the raven has continued to sit atop his chamber door, above the bust of Pallas, and that he will live forever in its shadow. Now let's see the poem. He says, once upon a midnight dreary, while I pondered weak and weary, over many a quaint and curious volume of forgotten lore, while I nodded, nearly napping, suddenly there came a tapping, as of some one gently rapping at my chamber door. It is some visitor, I muttered, tapping at my chamber door. Only this and nothing more. Distinctly I remember it was in the bleak December, and each separate dying ember wrought its ghost upon the floor. Eagerly I wished the morrow, vainly I had sought to borrow from my books surcease of sorrow, sorrow for the lost Lenore, for the rare and radiant maiden whom the angels name Lenore, nameless here for evermore. And the silken, sad, uncertain rustling of each purple curtain thrilled me, filled me with fantastic terrors never felt before. So that now, to still the beating of my heart, I stood repeating, it is some visitor entreating entrance at my chamber door. Some late visitor entreating entrance at my chamber door. This it is and nothing more. Presently my soul grew stronger, hesitating then no longer. Sir, said I, or madam, truly your forgiveness I implore. But the fact is, I was napping, and so gently you came rapping, and so faintly you came tapping at my chamber door. That I scare was sure I heard you. Here I opened wide the door, darkness there and nothing more. Deep into the darkness peering, long I stood there wondering, fearing, doubting, dreaming dreams no mortal ever dared to dream before. But the silence was unbroken, and the stillness gave no token. And the only word they spoken was the whispered word Lenore. This I whispered, and an echo murmured back the word Lenore, merely this and nothing more. Back into the chamber, turning all my soul within me burning. Soon again I heard a tapping somewhat louder than before. Surely, said I, surely that is something at my window lattice. Let me see then what threat is and this mystery explore. Let my heart be still a moment and this mystery explore. It is the wind and nothing more. Open here, I flung the shutter, when, with many a flirt and flutter, in they stepped a stately raven of the saintly days of yore. Not the least obeisance made he, not a minute stopped or stayed he, but with mane of lord or lady perched above my chamber door, perched upon a bust of Pallas just above my chamber door, perched and sat and nothing more. Then this ebony bird beguiling my sad fancy into smiling. By the grave and stern decorum of the countenance I wore, though thy crest be shorn and shaven, thou, I said, art sure no craven, ghastly grim and ancient raven wandering from the nightly shore. Tell me what thy lordly name is on the night's Plutonian shore. Quoth the raven, nevermore. Much I marvelled this ungainly fowl to hear discourse so plainly, though its answer little meaning, little relevancy bore. But we cannot help agreeing that no living human being ever yet was blessed with seeing bird above his chamber door, bird or beast upon the sculptured bust above his chamber door, with such a name as nevermore. But the raven sitting lonely on the placid bust spoke only that one word, as if his soul in that one word he did outpour. Nothing farther than he uttered, not a feather than he fluttered, till I scarcely more than muttered, other friends have flown before. On the morrow he will leave me, as my hopes have flown before. Then the bird said nevermore. Startled at the stillness broken by replies so aptly spoken, doubtless said I, what it utters is its only stock and store, caught for some unhappy master whom unmerciful disaster followed fast and followed faster, till his songs one burden bore, till the dirges of his hope that melancholy burden bore of never, nevermore. But the raven, still beguiling all my fancy into smiling, straight I wheeled a cushioned seat in front of bird and bust and door. Then upon the velvet sinking, I betook myself to linking fancy unto fancy, thinking what this ominous bird of yore, what this grim, ungainly, ghastly, gaunt, and ominous bird of yore meant in croaking nevermore. This I sat engaging in guessing, but no syllable expressing, to the fowl whose fiery eyes now burnt into my bosom's core. This and more I sat divining with my head at ease reclining on the cushion's velvet lining that the lamp light glotted over, but whose velvet violet lining with the lamp lit gloating over, she shall press, ah, nevermore. Then methought the air grew denser, perfumed from some unseen censer, swung by seraphim whose footfalls tinkled on the tufted floor. Wretch, I cried, thy God hath lent thee, by these angels he hath sent thee, respite, respite, and nepenthe from thy memories of Lenore. Quaff, oh, quaff this kind nepenthe and forget this lost Lenore. Quoth the raven, nevermore. Prophet, said I, think of evil. Prophet still, if bird or devil, whether tempter sent or whether tempest tossed thee here ashore. Desolate yet all undaunted, on this desert land enchanted, on this home by horror haunted, tell me truly, I implore. Is there balm in Gilead? Tell me, I implore. Quoth the raven, nevermore. Prophet, said I, think of evil, prophet still, if bird or devil. By that heaven that bends above us, by that God we both adore. Tell this soul, with sorrow laden, if within the distant Eden, it shall clasp as may sainted maiden whom the angels name Lenore. Clasp a rare and radiant maiden whom the angels name Lenore. Quoth the raven, nevermore. Be that word or sign of parting, bird or fiend, I shrieked upstarting. Get thee back into the tempest and the night's Plutonian shore. Leave no black plume as a token of that lie thy soul shall hath spoken. Leave my loneliness unbroken. Quit the bust above my door. Take thy break from out my heart, and take thy form from off my door. Quoth the raven, nevermore. And the raven, never flitting, still is sitting on the pallid bust of Pallas just above my chamber door, and his eyes have all the seeming of a demon's that is dreaming, and the lamp light over him streaming throws his shadow on the floor, and my soul from out the shadow that lies floating on the floor shall be lifted nevermore. And here ends the poem. If you have anything more to add on to what I've said, Please write it in the comment box. Like the video, share it with your friends, and if you have not subscribed my channel, please subscribe and support. Thank you.